people of Earth. So I want to show you guys just a little bit about rendering from After Effects. So as you'll see here, I've got a comp. So in here, I got all my animations and stuff. It's actually a pre-comp. So inside of this file are all the animations that I want to do. So normally yours will probably look like you have a bunch of animations underneath, but I wanted to make sure it was kind of pre-rendered so that it wouldn't look weird. So if I can scrub through, so you see I'm zoomed in pretty far. I scroll through. Let's see. There we go. Gotta fill this thing into the screen so you can see what it's about. And it's gonna be janky right now. You can see it's not fully rendered. So it kind of says the depressing thing about tennis is that no matter how good I get, it zooms out a little bit, I'll never be good as the wall. And it zooms out again, and Mitch Hedberg signed. Wunderbar. So I've got both the text above, I've got the text below, I've got two different types of animation. This is good. Now the question becomes, how do I get it out of After Effects? So there's basically three ways I want to show you about how to get stuff out of After Effects. Two ways are through After Effects directly, and then one way is through what's called the Adobe Media Encoder. So first way, and it's the way we learned in class, you would just go File, Export, Add to Render Queue. So you can see, comes up down here, we get lossless and quotable image AVI. So I could technically go over and just click render here, right? But I'll show you in a second, that is going to create a file that's super big and kind of unmanageable. It's also going to take longer to export. So let me go on up, and I'm going to create another one. I'm going to go File, Export, and oh, no, not what I want yet. File, Export. I want to add another one to the render queue. Oh, I'm in the render queue. I see. I get it now. Okay, File, Export. So you do have to have your file down here clicked on that you want to export. Oh, hello. All right, go away. I'm not ready for you yet. Oof, premature. So I got my thing clicked. I'm going to go File, Export, Add to Render Queue, right? And voila, I've got another thing in the render queue, and both of them are AVI. That's kind of the default. But I don't want it to be AVI, because like I told you, it's going to be enormous. So what I want, I'm going to click on lossless, because I'm going to say, I don't know if I need it to be lossless, man. So I'm going to click on lossless. And up here where it says AVI, I'm actually going to click it, go all the way down, and I'm going to export it as a QuickTime file. So I click QuickTime, and then I'm going to head over into here and go Format Options, and I can choose a lot of different stuff. I could choose animation, I could choose H.264, which is great. I could choose MPEG-4 video. You could choose kind of a couple different things within here. I'd say it's less important. What I'd like for you to do when you're exporting, if this option pops up, is to go with H.264. And then as you can see, I actually lowered the quality all the way down to like 50. Because for final renders, for projects that you really want to submit to clients, you're going to bump that up about as high as you can go. But I, for the purpose of this, I'm just going to put it to 50, both so that I can send it out pretty quickly, and because I'm not looking for that much quality in terms of like the exact frame rate and specifications. I just want to see more compositional factors. But yeah, so I could bump this all the way up to 100, and it might take 5-6 minutes to export, but I'm going to put it down to here, put it down to 50. I'm going to click OK. So now I've got all this stuff going good. I've got switch quality to 50, QuickTime. I'm going to click OK, and you'll see this changes from AVI to MOV. So very different files. We'll see those in a second. So now I've got two files. I've got lossless, I've got QuickTime, and then the final one, because you remember I went File, Export, Add to Adobe Media Encoder Queue, brings up a whole nother program. So it's going to take a while for a whole nother program to open up, and that program looks like this, and it should send out a whole thing for you. It doesn't tell me how long it took. So it's going to send out a whole thing that comes up in here. And so instead of clicking on high bitrate or whatever, you'll click on that side part, and then it's going to take forever. it pops up. So I get a nice whole window. It shows me, what's my workspace, what's my work area. So if I want to just cut just a bit of it, I can cut just a bit of it. But I do want to cut the entire thing. So I'm going to cut the entire thing. Could also just do the entire work area. So up here, you can see I could technically export this as a QuickTime file. But what Adobe Media Render Queue, what this Adobe Media Encoder lets me do is export it directly as an H.264, which is gonna send me an MP4 file. Now, I'll show you why in a second why that's so valuable. Here I get an output, so it's gonna say da 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 da, comes out as an MP4. Wunderbar. I can even click here and say, where do I want to save this file? Oh, I want to save it in, not in here. I want to put it in my Spring 2017 in Activities and inside this After Effects Basics. You'll see I already can have one ready to go, so I would do it right in here as an MP4. And that's all you need to do. If I had audio, I'd export audio. Got my presets, they're all good. I'm just going to click OK, and you'll see this is this H.264, and this is ready to go. When I want to then export this, I just click this arrow over here, and it will automatically encode. So, what do I get at the end of this process? So, and for my video, which again is just this, it's 15 seconds long, it is literally like 2 animations, and then some slight movement. It is all in 3D though, because I'm dumb and forgot to do a secret way to do this as kind of 3D. So, so it is actually bigger than it should be, but it still is kind of representative of the amount of animations you might get. So, at the end of the day, this image took about a minute to render. This guy took about half that time, 30 seconds. And then this guy also takes about 30 seconds to render. And at the end of the day, let's look at the results. So here we can see the 3 files. We got our AV, AVI, MOV, and MP4. Look at the size difference. Look at it. Stare into the heart of the abyss of size difference. Look, it's a whole damn gigabyte, or a whole, a whole gigabyte if you're going to export as an AVI. If you just use the basic settings, that's going to be an AVI. You know what it's also going to be is unwatchable for me. It will be terrible. I won't be able to watch it because it'll be so big, it'll like stumble over itself. I can import it into other programs and watch it, into like Adobe Premiere or even back into After Effects. But boy, I just am not going to accept AVI files. I will, however, accept MOV files, and I will accept MP4 files. So I would say that the best way, and you can see an MP4 is even half the size of this MOV file, even though I limited the quality of the MOV file to half resolution. I did nothing to my MP4 file. It is still the same resolution as I started, and it is half that, so it's only 13 megs. So what I would do is export in this way by going and exporting to the Adobe Media Encoder and then exporting as an MP4 file. But if that takes too long, or if you get stuck along the way, you can always export it as an MOV file. So once again, that's File, Export. Oh, it's not selected again. This critical sin. So I would go File, Export, and then either Adobe Media Encoder Queue or Add to Render Queue. Maybe later in the class we will even export to an Adobe Premiere Pro project. But for now, export as these files, and if it is small enough, I will be able to see it. You will be able to, you will be able to upload these 2 files to Blackboard. So with that, do let me know if you're running any problems with rendering. The bigger and the longer it takes with these animations, in terms of like the amount of stuff you're putting in there, and the bigger the files you're putting in there, the longer it's going to take to render. So do take a look and give yourself time. If it's going to take 2 hours to render, I hope it doesn't, but if it takes 2 hours to render, you need to know that beforehand. So just a brief warning about rendering. All right, y'all, I will see you in class tomorrow. I hope you are all having a lovely night. I'm recording, not supposed to see that. I hope you're all having a lovely night to yourselves. Bye-bye.